Welcome back to the Black Evolution, ladies and gentlemen. This is your boy Dabney Dane, and today we're going to talk about a very specific topic. We're going to talk about Trump, the debate, and him having COVID, and much more. Let's get into it. So I want to start off by introducing a quick side note here that there's no music, and I want to let y'all know that we don't need no music here today. We're going to have a good time like we always do, and we're going to enjoy talking about real talk. So I have a very special guest in the building. He goes by the name of Tyler, aka Kidd Klutch Productions. How you doing, young brother?
What's up, Dave? Thanks for having me on here.
It's my pleasure to have you, brother. So let's get into it, man. Like, what you think of the debate, the first presidential debate?
I loved it. And here's the reason why. It was everything I expected.
Oh, really?
I didn't think it was going to be. I really, honestly, a lot of people say they were surprised at what they saw, but I'm not one of those people. Because I knew it wasn't going to be a normal presidential debate. I knew it was going to be more like a boxing match.
Yeah.
Or a power match.
Yeah, it was sound like a shouting match, and it looked like somebody from a WWE or Family Guy was creating the skit.
Yeah.
And I saw that, I was like, wow, okay. I just rolled. I had a good time watching it.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, like Trump, he kept interrupting. Every time he got challenged.
But I think, honestly, Trump, that's the only preparation he had was go out there to interrupt.
Yep.
I don't think he had a plan at all.
Yep.
I honestly know that he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know how to govern. So his only plan was to disrupt.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to talk about the issues that people actually face.
You want to talk about it? He said, nah, I ain't gonna talk about it. Joe, you ain't doing nothing.
Here's what people gotta understand by now too with Trump. 4 years ago when we saw him, all we saw was Trump, the entertainer, the petulant child, acting crazy.
Yeah.
But what people don't understand, Trump is the entertainer. So you're going to be entertained by a lot of stuff you see with him. Everything, his whole presidency is a reality TV show, just like their planets.
Yep. Just like reality TV. It's not even real.
And I think a lot of people saying, I couldn't stand to watch, I couldn't stand to see our country go to this level. But you gotta understand, when you elected Trump, that was gonna happen.
Yeah, it already was at that level. What you mean?
And people keep acting like they're surprised. Trump has been doing this for the last 3.5 years, and he's been doing it for the last 5 years while he's running.
Yeah.
But people don't understand too with Trump. All he's doing is exposing who he is.
Yeah.
And he made it clear last Tuesday that he wants to be a dictator.
Yeah.
So he said, "You vote for me, dictatorship."
Yeah.
He made it clear. He's like, when they asked him, will he accept the election results? He was like, no. He said, it won't be no transition of power.
Yeah.
It won't be no peaceful transition.
Yeah.
And he's like, investigate the mail-in ballots.
Mm-hmm.
He's letting you know.
It's going to be a dictatorship. He's like, no, I will not relinquish my power of presidency. I'm not doing it. He's letting you know, first and center, that he wants to be a dictator, and he'll do whatever it takes to stay in power.
Yeah. And people, if you don't know what a dictator is, or you don't know what dictators do, I want you to go Google Adolf Hitler.
Yep. Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin. Them two. Google them. Yeah, Kim Jong-un. Google them.
Vladimir Putin.
Yep.
I urge you to go Google those people.
Yep. And see who they are.
Google the guy in China, Xi Jinping.
Yep.
He just became president for life last year.
Yep.
Google them, watch videos, especially Adolf Hitler.
Yep.
And see how he does. Trump has taken a lot of stuff that Hitler did to take over Germany.
Yep.
And he's implemented it into his presidency.
Implemented several of his tactics. Shame the media. Use police violence. The
propaganda.
Propaganda, shove them out the ghettos and everything else. Call out a certain group of people, doing travel bans, promising to make your country great. Yep.
Yeah. And I say with people, a lot of people, they're saying, well, they didn't get to hear what these two candidates' plans were. I'm telling you, both candidates actually showed you what happened as they go in it. They told you what their plans were.
Yep.
So if you don't know who you're voting for by this point, there's something wrong with you.
Yep.
Because both candidates have showed you there's a huge difference.
Yep.
And as I say too, one thing I like that Joe Biden said was where Trump said, all we want to do is defund the police and not have police. He told them, he's like, we don't want to defund the police. We just want to get rid of these bad police.
Yep.
Keep the good ones and put more good ones in there.
Yep.
I was looking at Cardi B social media. She agreed. She's like, I don't know why people act like we're so against police. Yeah, there's some people that are against police. They don't like any police.
Yeah.
But they don't represent a whole population of the nation.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's what people need to get.
With that. Yeah.
And it's just like police too. Not all police are bad.
Yeah. It's just the bad apples that's in there. You gotta take them out.
Yeah, and we gotta get these laws changed.
Yep. Get the laws changed. Move out the bad apples. Have the good apples stay in there. That way they won't affect. That way their attitude doesn't infect the whole department.
Yeah.
So
change doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, as people need to understand. It takes time to start change, isn't it?
Yep.
People say, "Oh, we demand change now." Well, change don't happen now.
No.
It's a constant effort.
We can start by voting.
Mm-hmm.
After we vote, we gotta lobby.
Yeah.
After we lobby, we gotta make sure that things that we need is on it.
Yeah, and demand.
Once we take care of the needs, we can get to the wants.
Yeah.
But it's baby steps.
Yep. Start by voting. If you vote, you can take that person out.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand the power of the vote. They think their vote doesn't matter. And I'm telling you that it does. If it didn't matter, why would you make such an effort to conceal it or stop them?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's one thing about it. Like with the whole debate thing, it was just like watching a wrestling match and watching like a child go up against a full-grown adult. That's what it was like. The child couldn't have no real points. It just kept yelling. And I'm just like, yep, it's childish. I watched the entire thing. I had a good time watching it, but I just took notes. I was like, man, well, Joe Biden's clearly the better candidate. In his classiness, in his respect, and him trying to, do his best to control himself and to control the situation. And he's a better man than me because it was me up there. Oof. Ooh. Let's just say, I don't even want to go there. So when it comes to the Joe Biden debate and everything else and how we feel about it, overall, I just want to say this. It was a shit show. It was nothing, I expected nothing less. And with Joe Biden, he's a clear and most great candidate to win the election. That's all I got to say about it. Now, let's get into another issue that happened. Breonna Taylor, her decision, and how there was no justice. My personal thoughts are this. I didn't expect Breonna Taylor to get no justice. I feel like there's an agenda going on, and the $12 million was a payout. Tyler, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you on that. That $12 million was the payoff.
Yeah, man. It was to me. It felt like it was hush money that we're gonna pay.
It was hush money.
Mm-hmm. Pay him off. We're gonna pay him off, and then we ain't gonna give him no justice. We're gonna charge him with endangerment. Endangerment. That's what we're gonna charge him.
Of the neighbors.
Yeah. They ain't charge him with murder. They ain't charge him with manslaughter or nothing.
Mm-hmm. They charge him for almost killing the neighbors.
Mm-hmm. So how do you as a black man react to this? And what do we do going forward? What's the next step?
Number one, you gotta vote. It's the number one thing to do. And then number two, you gotta push to get laws passed.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that because when the voting matters, because you gotta know who's in power, who's behind the scenes of that.
Mm-hmm.
If the mayor's in power and he's a Republican mayor, and he causes that, and he elects district attorney, and he puts all the judges in there, then they run the government, and that creates a problem. Whoever it is, I don't care, they're Democrat or Republican. If they call that situation, you gotta know why they're in power and how they're in power, and move them out and get them out.
You gotta learn their views.
Mm-hmm. You gotta turn the system against them,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and play the game. That's what you gotta do.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta do with that. But overall feeling is $12 million is a payout, and I feel like sometimes the United States courts are corrupt.
They are. And I think what's so sad about the criminal case and the civil case, I think the civil case did more because it banned the no-knock warrants in Kentucky.
Yeah, it banned that, but I'm talking about the overall justice. Talking about the overall justice. We didn't get the overall, the big time justice, which is the officers getting charged. We didn't get that.
Yeah.
And with Breonna Taylor's situation, that was a bad situation. But can you imagine if the George Floyd thing happened?
Yeah, that's gonna erupt as chaos.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Ooh, if that happened, it'll be a World War III up in here.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do that.
Yeah, they're gonna have to regulate that. They're gonna have to put a stop to them.
Now that's one I would be surprised if they didn't prosecute them.
Yeah.
On that one.
Well, they try to justify it and this and that, saying, well, it's justifiable. If they try to do that, I'm like, wow, there's no real low. You can't even go any lower than that, really?
You had racists even mad about that situation.
Yep. Yeah, everybody be mad about that because, like, wait a second, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And like when it comes to like everything else and the whole court systems and everything, I feel like it needs to be reformed, justice reform in the courts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can't have all these crooked judges, and they call in America the system of your peers or jury of your peers. But most of the time, when it comes to black people, the juries are all white, so they can't relate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a problem.
And I always say, I think they keep saying American laws. I think they was built to do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
They was built for rich white men.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why a lot of reform and amendments need to be done.
Yeah.
Because that's all it's put in place for.
Yeah. This country, like you said before, this country was built for rich white men. This country was never built for people like us because they enslaved us. They ain't peacefully brought us over here. They said, boy, you going to get your butt over here and build America. We're going to force you to build America.
Mm-hmm.
Put us in chains and all that.
So when they did with the wars, they promised them freedom.
Yeah.
And they didn't tell them the truth.
They said, oh, we promise you freedom if you fight for us, the British and the Americans.
Yeah.
And throughout every war we fought in, they said the same thing. We promise you this, we promise you that. We fought in World War II. Only to come home be treated like that. It don't make no sense. And then
World War I, World War II, the Revolutionary War,
Vietnam, the Korean War, all the wars we fought, and still get treated like that, like your life don't matter in this country.
Mm-hmm.
No wonder people get mad and they go leave. They say go back to Africa and they all that. Cause like wow, like what's the point of being? They feel like what's the point of being here? This country's not built for us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just telling you their mindset. Now. Some things I agree with, some things I disagree with.
Yeah.
You gotta take the opportunity that's given to you. Yeah, America's messed up, but those things did happen. But you can't let that stop you and use that as an excuse to be like, oh well, I can't get nothing done. No, you can get stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. I hate when people use that as an excuse. Well, it's the white man. It's the man. The man keeping me down. They're keeping us down, brother. That's why we can't do nothing. No, you can do something. You just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Don't use that. Don't use our pain and our oppression as an excuse. That's the problem.
That off of that.
Mm-hmm.
Now you gotta figure out a way to dismantle it.
Yeah.
Same thing you built.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't really say that, dismantle the corruption. The corruption. Get rid of the corruption. Or build your own businesses.
Yeah.
Build your own community. Black Wall Street. Have some security so that way they won't burn it down this time.
Yeah. Gotta put your heads together.
Mm-hmm.
Stand together.
Yep. And not just turn against each other. Come together as a community and there wouldn't be no issues. A lot of times people try to pull us down because of jealousy. They get a little jealous. They see that you're going somewhere. And then they will start getting mad about your wealth and about your resources and stuff. Then they try to, pin you down, saying, "Oh, why we struggling? Why you make it?" Nah, maybe he's doing something that you're not doing. Did you ever think of that? It starts with that. So that's what I gotta say about that when it comes to that issue. Because when it comes to people coming together, people coming together in Black economics for months now. People ain't still listening to me.
Yeah,
I keep on telling.
I saw the other day. I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's something I saw the other day. It says like 12-year-old Georgia black boy. He's a sophomore in college, majoring in aerospace engineering. Why don't they talk about that?
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about that.
About Elon Musk.
Yeah.
You see aerospace, you hear Jeff Bezos, this new SpaceX. That's Elon Musk. But Jeff Bezos has an aerospace company. That's all they talk about.
Yeah.
Why can't they talk about their kid more?
Yeah. Yeah, when I talk about it, they want to keep people down and feel like, oh, people are unintelligent, and they're not. We are very intelligent people. They want to. I feel like agendas are being pushed, and that's what I want to get into with this next issue with the whole Breonna Taylor situation, and not just that, but other agendas. I feel like in terms of this country, agendas are being pushed on the masses when it comes to feminizing the men, when it comes to masculizing, making the women more masculine. When it comes to the presidential debates, when it comes to politics, it's all a game. It's all a con.
Yeah.
There's the fox and the wolf. Trump is the wolf, because he's in your face. He knows what you want. Politicians that come before Joe Biden, they're all like the fox. They're more crafty. They try to pretend to be people's friends, but then turn around when as soon as they get in the office, they don't do they don't keep their promises. But till now, we're gonna have, if Joe Biden gets in office, we're gonna hold them accountable and say, no, you will do this, you will do that. And he's one of the first presidents that I've actually seen in a long time that actually came up with a plan. He didn't do any all talk. And I've actually taken a good look at the plan. And it seems like a good plan because we've been pressing him, putting pressure. That's what I'm talking about. Putting pressure and pressure and pressure and pressure and some more pressure and some more. And not letting up. He didn't let him know. He had to come with a plan. He came with a plan. I said, okay. All right.
He came up with a plan and everything.
Yep. Saying, this is what I'm going to do. This is what we're going to do. And I like that. I have yet to see a politician actually sit there and come up with a plan and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. Most of the politicians I've seen, they just do all the talk. They don't even.
They try to go around the issue.
Yeah, they go around the issue and don't solve it, and that's a problem because they all be trying to go around. It's all a bunch of fluff.
Yeah, I like what he said about the economy. He said we got to get COVID under control before we get the economy.
Yep.
Then we get the other stuff.
Yep. Listen to the scientists. Listen to the vaccine. Listen to the experts.
Because it's like what we spoke about earlier. You got the baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
You start from this and work your way up to each.
Yep. I agree with that. That's where it starts. Start with baby steps and then to build it into something more.
We start with COVID. Start with COVID, the economy, then we can get the well, we can put with two together. We could do COVID one. And number two is criminal justice reform.
Yeah.
Not even that, just prison with criminal justice and the lynching bill. Get that.
Yep.
And then the economy together.
Yep.
That all in two.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the stuff working there.
Yep. It'll take care of itself.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what we gotta do. Baby steps. Start from one thing, then build to another. And go put the work in. Put the work in. Put the work in. You don't put the work in, you ain't gonna get nothing done.
But you always gotta have a plan if you want to get somewhere.
Yep.
The plan may not always work out in that order, but you gotta figure out a way where to start.
Yep. You gotta know what you're doing too. A lot of people saying, I'm gonna just do this, I'm gonna do that, and you rushing to do something, you don't know what you're doing. That's gonna be a problem.
And it's gonna take longer than that.
Yep.
Twice as long.
Yep.
When you do it that way.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people, I feel like sometimes they don't know what they're doing. They be like, oh, we're gonna do this, and you don't have no plan, and then nothing gets done. But I feel for the first time in a long time that with Joe Biden in the election, we can actually get what we want because we've been putting pressure and demanding it. And he come with a plan. He's actually holding him accountable. And he actually come with a plan, a documented plan, a website. You can go on his website and read the plan. You can't just be like, oh, well, it's all talk, it's all fluff. No, he actually has a plan.
Read it.
Read. Yep. Read the plan. That's why I said.
Other than social media.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of times people will be talking about, especially, people like Charlamagne the God, talking about how Joe Biden is bad with black people. He ain't have a plan. He don't have a black agenda. And he don't do this. He don't do that. He don't do enough. He don't do enough. I'm like, if you bother to read the plan, then your stuff will be answered. And then he gonna talk about how I haven't read the plan. I'm like, if you haven't read the plan, then shut up.
You can't complain about it.
Yep.
And two, after you read the plan and you don't like what you see in it, tell them what you want.
Yep.
You need to add to it.
Yep.
And the same thing they said about America, and it's true. They said America, they give you medicine to deal with the symptoms. They don't do it to cure it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing too. There's a lot of issues going on there. They don't cure it. They just try to give you something to control it and manage it.
Yep.
For a while.
That's it. Goes after the symptoms. It doesn't go after the root of the problem. If you go after the root of the problem will be solved. You can't go after the problem and then go after the root. You got to go after the root of the problem. As I tell people all the time, you got to go after the root of the problem. What caused it? What caused it?
No.
Well, is this? Well, is that? No. What caused it? Go to the root. Then you go solve the problem. And so I think I feel with this election, I'm gonna tell people one more time to vote. You need to vote. Don't just be ignorant voter. Make an informed decision. Google, research. Know what's going on around you.
Your best friend.
Yep. Make Google your best friend. Make researching your best friend. Just look up articles. Make all these news articles and then some. Do some more research than that. Because some of these news articles like to exaggerate sometimes. So you got to
actually research laws.
Yep.
You'll find out a lot of this stuff is legal that you sit there fighting against.
Yep.
It's the law.
Yep. Look it up. Look up these laws. Look up legislations. And see why things are the way they are in your state. Not just in your state, in America.
Google the history.
Yep.
If you don't know where you came from, you won't know where you're going.
Yep. That's why sometimes our people can't get anywhere because they don't know their history.
We try to erase the history.
Yep. And then we got to look up the history. Look up the history. Did you know the first police was slave patrols? So when I found that out, I realized, oh, that's why the problem is the way it is. So look at the foundation.
What they doing?
Yeah, look at the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the foundation, and you'll see like, oh wait, it's a history, a track record of racism.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's an institution of racism and it started at that point as slave patrols, then why do you think they're doing what they're doing now? They just continue doing what they've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
So you just gotta look up the history and know the history.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're gonna talk about we talked about Breonna Taylor, we talked about the presidential debate, talked about voting. And now I feel that it's time to talk about a very important topic. Planning to be a boss. What in your eyes means to be a boss? Like when you say, for example, when you talk about entrepreneurship and you talk about quote unquote, what's the word you use? The corporate plantation. What do you mean by that?
You want to know my opinion on that?
Yes, your opinion. What's your opinion on that when you say the corporate plantation?
I want to hear your opinion on that so I can see where you stand with that. And then I was going to piggyback off of that.
Okay, well, when it comes to...
I may have a different interpretation there.
Well, when you say the corporate plantation, I'm thinking about a mindset of just going through the regular life, just having a job and everything else and having security and stuff like that. And just having that mentality and not expanding to something more. It may be different from your opinion, but I just wanted to ask for you for that opinion because you came up with that term, the corporate plantation.
So it sounds like we have similar views on that particular subject. And I agree with corporate plantation. To me, I feel the plantation because I always say it's bribery.
Bribery, you say?
Yeah. I always say your paycheck is bribery to keep you coming to that job. You may hate the job, but you're going to keep coming back because of the money. And your boss basically knows that that's the only reason you're coming back. Like I always tell people, a job doesn't mean that it's got to be for, I'll say at least 40%. It needs to be 40% of the population. The other 60%, they stay their job. If you're right.
Yeah.
But I would say that 40% because 40% of people, they don't want to work where they are. But you got your other 60%, the majority, they do.
Yeah, they need to work. They need that money.
Yeah.
And if I would say this, if you have a job right now and you say, oh, well, it's a corporate plantation, this and that. No, we're not telling you to quit your job. No. I'll be the first to say that. No. Do the best at your job. You got the job. Do your very best. If you need that job to provide for your family, if you need your job to provide for your lifestyle, then do your best at it. Be the very best. What we're talking about here is entrepreneurship. And those who have an entrepreneurship mind need to expand your mindset. So I just want to get that out the way.
Yeah, because I feel if you're an entrepreneur, a job is a means to end for you. There's nothing wrong with having a job. There's nothing wrong with liking the job. It's not wrong with being there for a long time. But you have to have an end game.
Yep.
You have to start planning it. Because if you get tired, at some point you're going to quit. What are you going to do? Well, you prepared to quit. You're prepared to sacrifice.
Yep.
Because I look at
when you say sacrifice, go ahead, sir. When you say sacrifice, what do you mean by that?
Sacrifices. Okay, I may not have income for a few months. Like as far as new income, consistent income, that you may have saved up money over the years to do that. You may have to live off of that for a while. But you can't just say, I'm going to quit my job and you don't have to die. That's correct, especially if you have a family.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to get into that with you. I was about to say, okay, what do you mean by that when you say you go quit your job and everything else? Because, like I was going to say before, like some people need that job to provide for their families and everything. You can't be like, oh, I'm going to quit my job and you ain't got no income. You ain't got a dime worth to your name. You ain't got no savings saved up to do what you want to do.
I say this, if you know what's going to work out, you're going to have to just pull the punches and you're going to do it. Because I look at it like this: Joe Jackson, he quit his job at the factory, and he wanted more for his family. He quit his job and he bought a bunch of instruments.
Mm-hmm.
And his kids rehearsed, and they started traveling over around the world.
Mm.
And they weren't traveling in limousines and stuff. At first, it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
They was living in a 3-bedroom house with 11 kids. But they got there because he never gave up.
Yep.
Never stopped believing. He had an end game at the end.
Yep.
A lot of people, they have the dream, but they never have the goal and the ambition.
Mm-hmm.
Do anything with it.
Yeah, that's also what you need to have. You need to have ambition in your life.
Because I look at it like this: LeBron James, there was a lot of players just as good as him playing on the street. But the reason why is because LeBron James, he never stopped.
Mm-hmm.
He made it a big part of his life. A lot of people, they have a lot of talent, but they don't use it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. They lack ambition.
Yep, and that's the problem too. You need to mold yourself into a better person by having some ambition in your life and planning ahead. Always think ahead. Or as the phrase goes, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, and I always think too. A lot of people let society dictate their destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Because society tells you to do what the 99% to do, but the people that's running society and dictating society, they're the 1%. Yep. They don't even do the stuff they tell you.
Yep. They tell you, get an education. They tell you, get a job. Which education and jobs are very important, but they just teach you to expand your mindset. Have an entrepreneur business mindset. And in order to be an entrepreneur, you have to come with a plan, and everything relies on you. So you have to plan things out and work things out. And work things out to your benefit, to your favor. Don't just be like, oh, what?
I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep on.
I was about to say, don't just be like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, but you ain't got no plan. One of the first things about entrepreneurship, you got to have a business plan. And you got to have, if you have to have a job to be a basic income so you can save and finance your business, then that's fine. Because if you have a job to have a stable income, because you need to have stable income in order to fund the business, and until the business pops off. Once the business pops off, then you are in a position to quit. So
I always say this too: if you have a business, start off with a full-time job. Mm-hmm. Then you may have to quit that full-time job and start, or you may have to cut back on hours and do part-time.
Yep.
And then after that, you may have to quit it all together to manage it, unless you have somebody that's competent to manage your business.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people that all the time. A lot of people, they start off with a full-time job, working in the business, and it doesn't work out. And they get with a full-time job.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to quit the job.
Yeah. Also expand your options. Even if you're in the full-time job, always look for other jobs.
Yep. And another thing I always say too, you're a business owner. Even if you don't have income and you got to work to get your income, okay, make sure your employees are getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
You may have to go get a job somewhere to keep yourself stable, but if you have a business, make sure that finances are rolling in where they can get paid still.
Yep. I agree with that.
And that's what I mean too about sacrifice for entrepreneurship. It's so many ways. You have to sacrifice for your family, you got to sacrifice for your employees, and even society as a whole.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Because I see, there's another thing too. I see with society, they look down at certain jobs, and them jobs over the pandemic.
Yeah.
Now you see they look down on. That's what they needed.
Yeah.
As I look at what they were saying about factories, they was closing up factories all these years, saying they're not reliable jobs, they're not this.
Yeah, they're not real jobs. They're not real jobs.
But factories are still, and they've always been really one of the highest paying jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of family.
Yep.
In this country.
Yep, they'll take you. You can take care of yourself with that job.
Yeah, very well.
Mm-hmm. You'll be well off.
Factories put a lot of kids to college.
Mm-hmm.
Factories produced a lot of meals.
Yep. They pay for rent and put food on the table with them jobs.
Not just rent. Factories have been good for society.
Yep.
Oh. So we didn't have factories, how would we get ventilators?
Yep. Ventilators, automobiles. Automobiles, schools, buildings,
planes, everything.
Yep.
And then I look at it too, they was laughing at bike shops. Now they say bike shops, they've been blowing up because people have been at home with nothing to do. They've been buying bikes.
Yep.
And then those quote unquote corporate jobs they talking about, they're out.
Mm-hmm.
They can't afford, they're laying people off.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of people too, they have to work from home now.
Yep.
So some corporate jobs they have to make the choice. Do we keep these people or lay them off?
Or have them work from home. Most of the time, they have them lay them off or work from home.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of them do. But then you have some, they receive stimulus money and they're still laying people off and keeping it.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too, corporate greed. That's why I say corporate plantation, because the corporate greed is there to use you. You're just the